Before we get to the movie, I have a question for you. What is a Rubik's Cube?
It's a way to tell if a character is a genius.
In a movie, it's a universal symbol, a trope.
Yes.
I found another one. It's the CPAP machine. It's the universal symbol of a weak and ineffectual man. And that is unfair as hell.
There's lots of people with them.
It's not an affectation, it's a medical need. I see this cropping up more and more often.
I know multiple people with one. And they don't all share one.
It'd be like a Dr. Seuss, 8-ended CPAP.
Yeah.
It's CPAP-tapulous!
I never want to have one myself, because I don't want to be weak and ineffectual. And I really hope my snoring doesn't get so bad that my wife asks me to see a doctor, because that's how they get you.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. It's October,
What's that cat up to?
It's October, the scary month of Halloween, and this year we have 3 horror movies we'll be watching here in the basement. The horror movie staple, monsters.
Mm-hmm.
We love them, we're scared by them.
They're in our Hall of Fame.
And we've watched the classics. Dracula, The Mummy, Mel Gibson. But what about Frankenstein?
What about him?
I've seen the James Whale Frankenstein. I've seen Bride of Frankenstein. I think I've seen Son of Frankenstein. What is there to do? Well, luckily, the good folks at Hammer Studios have just the thing for us. And so, tonight, you must endure the Curse of Frankenstein.
Ah, welcome back, Hammer.
Released in 1957, TCOF was directed by Basement alum Terence Fisher and stars Hazel Court, Robert Urquhart, Basement alum Peter Cushing, and for his 8th appearance on our show, Christopher Lee. This was the first of Hammer's color films, and its success prompted reboots of other horror franchises, such as The Mummy and Dracula, firmly establishing Hammer Horror as a distinctive brand of Gothic cinema. Though they had previously appeared in films together, this production marked the beginning of a lifelong friendship between Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, which allegedly began when Lee stormed into Cushing's dressing room complaining that, "I've got no lines." Cushing responded, "You're lucky. I've read the script."
Luckily, they never worked with these screenwriters or studio ever again.
One of this movie's taglines warns, "Please try not to faint. Not recommended for people of nervous disposition."
What if I do? I've never fainted before. I wouldn't know what to do once it happened.
It's best not to do anything.
Wait for smelling salts? Do you have smelling salts, Matt?
I don't have smelling salts.
Well, then I'm screwed.
I'll just whack you with a pillow until you wake up. Have you seen a lot of Hammer Horror?
I have only seen the one we watched on the show, so far as I know.
If you are going to make a Frankenstein monster, you need to be an expert in anatomy. And perhaps tonight's gift will help you do that and have fun at the same time.
It's the Wacky Doctor game. Operation Game Pen.
That's right. You can write a letter to a friend and remove the ruptured appendix at the same time. That gift has been sitting in this cupboard the entire length of the show for 10 years. I've been waiting for the right movie. I was going to give it to you for Patch Adams. I ended up doing the clown nose instead.
But Frankenstein, it's perfect.
Well, pull the special book out of the bookcase so the thing slides to the side and you can go down to the secret laboratory where the old leather couch is, where we will bring to life the Curse of Frankenstein.
Many strange experiments with the dead have since become legend. Legend is still told with horror the world over. It is the legend of...
Oh, sorry. I guess my disposition is particularly nervous today. More Cushing for the pushing.
The matte drawings of Switzerland are so nice this time of year.
A priest goes to visit a prisoner.
Baron Victor Frankenstein. The good Baron has an hour left before his execution.
And he's got a story to tell.
I inherited the Frankenstein fortune, and this enabled me to begin the life and the work I had always planned for myself.
Some real ghoulish business.
Now, what was it you wished to see me about, Aunt Sophie?
You're broke already. Your father made some really bad investments right before he died. And he meets
Paul Kremper,
his tutor.
Good morning.
Hello, Victor. I'm sorry my hat is so small. It's very embarrassing.
Well, will you tell your father that I'm here?
My father is dead.
But if you'd like, I can reanimate him for you. Paul and young Victor get along like gangbusters, and there you go. That's how you make sugar. No, sugar can't be like that. You just get it from a cane. See? It says so right here.
They've got this great idea of
Using electricity to bring...
a little dead dog back to life. Finally, I've invented the soda stream.
Look! The puppy's not dead. It's alive.
It's Frankenweenie. This is where Tim Burton got the idea.
There seemed to be a definite lag between the cardiac reaction and the first visible signs of life.
And I can't get him to eat any of these sausages. We have to go further, Paul.
It's no longer sufficient to bring the dead back to life.
We must make the living dead. We have to become murderers. We have to reanimate a person. I want to take pieces of people and attach them together to create a perfect body. And I heard that there's this guy who was hung.
His body's been left on a gibbet.
A gibbet? And he's still there. They go to the gibbet,
Chop down this corpse,
and suddenly it is an empty gibbet. Grand Theft Gibbet.
and they bring him home. Now, Paul, I need a heart.
Oh man, the birds have done a number on his head. Well, I don't need the head anyway.
I'm gonna chop off his head, toss it into my handy vat of acid.
I'll dissolve the head completely, and no one will even know there was a head there. That's how I do it.
Paul begins getting second thoughts watching how cold-blooded Victor is with this whole exercise.
Just look at those hands.
I won't do it a third time. Victor says, "Hey, Paul, I need to go do something. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's making me smile. I'll see you in a bit." While he's gone, this woman shows up, Elizabeth. It's Victor's cousin. Victor returns and he shows Paul what he's got.
I got some hands.
What about these, eh?
Take a look at these hands.
We can't continue with this experiment, not here anyway.
But the hands, I just got the hands.
I decided I could not continue with this experiment.
Paul, spoken like a true crimper.
Yes, I will not help you, not anymore.
And that's final.
Give this thing up, if not for your own sake, for the sake of the girl.
You're wasting your time, Paul.
She loves reanimated corpses.
She is a freak.
Leave it outside the door.
Of course, Herr Kremper.
Hair crimper, that's how you make the hair, the fancy waves in the hair. Use a hair crimper. Victor and Elizabeth, the cousin, are engaged to be married.
You should really get out of here.
It will not be safe here.
Not safe?
You see there's these hands. And a gibbet is involved, and I can't get into it all. Just leave. What she doesn't know is Victor is having an affair on the down low with Justine the maid. And he's promised Justine that he's going to marry her. I feel some reanimation going on in my pants.
I see so little of you these days. And there are the household accounts to see.
And there's a headless dead guy down in the basement. What's the deal with that? Victor has got a lot of shopping to do.
I have to go out and see an arms dealer I know. Oh, I'm sorry, an arm dealer.
He goes to the charnel house to pick up a lovely pair of eyes that he's had his eye on for quite some time.
Paul again stops by to argue.
This can never end in anything but evil.
Evil. Evil. My creature is almost complete. I just need the brain of a genius. Victor is visited by a genius.
Professor Bernstein stops by. I got the best brain in Europe.
The trouble with a scientist is we quickly tire of our discoveries.
I don't want your brain anymore. I don't want my monster to be boring.
Good evening.
Hey, it's me, Paul. Sorry I'm late. I'm running on crimper time.
Good night, young lady.
Now. Victor shows the old man to his room for the night, and he pushes him over a railing and kills him.
Aha! Pah! You're dead! Now I'm gonna take your brain. Okay.
He goes to the crypt, and he takes out the brain.
Yoink!
Hope you don't mind if I take this.
Stab!
But Paul shows up, Paul the Killjoy,
I really don't agree with what you're doing here.
and I'm going to make sure that you can't use that brain.
How do you like this? Smash!
Victor is very upset.
I've come to appeal to you to leave here.
What are you trying to tell me, Paul? That Victor's wicked? Insane?
In the membrane or elsewhere? Well, the brain was a little damaged by all that broken glass, but it's still usable.
He puts it into his little dead body. And we need to fire up the whole electrical machine.
And he tries to reanimate the corpse.
But it doesn't work. He needs another set of hands. and not in the way that he's been getting another set of hands.
He goes to see Paul in his room. Paul lives with him, by the way. I think that's a little strange.
I want you to help me.
No, Victor.
You're going to help me, Paul.
I will not help you, Victor.
No!
I'll help you.
Yeah, I thought you would, Paul. Down in the lab, an errant lightning strike causes some equipment to do a thing and shocks some life into that monster.
Victor hears a sound from the lab. He goes to investigate.
Do it! Show me that ugly face!
And immediately gets a throttling.
Give him a set to give! Paul beats the monster in the head with a chair, and the monster falls asleep.
I did it, Paul.
And I didn't need you after all.
You must destroy this thing now.
Ugh, you're such a Paul. I'm leaving, and I'm not going to help you anymore. I've reversed my reversal. The monster escapes.
If he gets deep into those woods, we'll never find him.
I'll meet you downstairs.
I've decided to help you. Again, out there in the weeds, there's an old blind man and his grandson. I must rest here for a moment. Put down this heavy load.
Shady backpack is your...
That backpack is the very first backpack made by the North Face. The monster comes shambling out of the bushes.
Oh, is that you? Have you come back, my grandson?
Why are you not speaking? Well, who are you? Oh, no.
I'm a-dying.
Paul shows up with a gun. You may fire when ready.
And he's dead.
They bury the monster.
Death is not the end in Frankenstein land.
Victor, I'm not going to help you anymore.
Really? I'm leaving.
Don't let the door knocker hit you on the posterior. Victor goes down to the lab.
Victor still has the monster.
Baron Frankenstein finally got a home gibbet. I've always wanted one of those for the house as well. And it's just, they're so elegant. He brought it to life once. He can do it again.
All he needs is a new brain.
Justine confronts Victor.
Is it true?
It's true. It's true.
I hear you're going to marry this Elizabeth. You said you were going to marry me, and I'm going to have a baby. Your baby, Victor.
I'm never going to marry you, girl. You're just a washerwoman. Really? Well, I'm going to tell the authorities what you're doing down in your lab. You don't know what I'm doing in my lab, girl. I'm gonna tell.
I'll get proof. Just you see.
That's right. I'm going to ruin you, Baron Frankenstein, and you'd better not murder me to prevent it. Turns out Victor doesn't have to do anything because she goes into the lab where the monster is, and the monster makes short work of her.
Pass the marmalade, will you?
This marmalade makes me want to get my yayas out.
Victor, this is our wedding eve. I thought...
Oh, come, Elizabeth. We're not sentimental young lovers.
I'll be down later to get all up in them petticoats.
Paul shows up.
Good evening.
I'm here to either help or not help the Baron. I haven't decided yet.
Who's there?
Loud interrupting Paul.
Loud interrupting Paul.
I'm not here to help you.
Elizabeth said you had something to show me.
Yes.
Zip. Come down to the lab. I want to show you something. Hey, look, it's the monster. The monster's still here, right?
Oh, God, Victor, why did I teach you all this electricity?
Look, I trained the monster to do some tricks.
Come here.
Now sing. But not Brits.
Well, that's it, says Paul. I'm leaving.
If you tell the authorities, Elizabeth will be the first to suffer.
You even punch like a Paul. The monster is chained to the wall. He looks at the wall and he goes, I'm chained to the wall. Bloop, now I'm free.
Ah, crap, he got away. We had him chained to a wall and he's only super strong.
Elizabeth hears strange noises and she's running around.
She's attacked by the creature.
Then he shoots the monster. But that doesn't stop the monster.
Remember that vat of acid?
He dissolves. So we're back to the present, in the prison with the priest.
See, I didn't kill anyone, and I made this cool monster, priesty.
Paul, my friend who's coming here, can corroborate that story. No help. Leaving. Authorities. Paul out. When Paul shows up, he's got nothing to say.
There's nothing we can do for him now.
Well, there's something I could do, but I choose not to. But it ain't good for Victor, who marches off to the guillotine.
No gibbet for him.
So ends The Curse of Frankenstein. I found it to be rather dull.
I found the dull parts to be rather dull. And you know what parts were the dull parts?
Paul
And Elizabeth.
They were both very boring.
It was a very redundant movie, mostly due to those two characters. I would say that is the curse of Frankenstein. That they didn't build the madness. That they didn't have Paul watching Victor and being like, this isn't the guy I used to know. It just snaps at that moment. It was like, I'm just going to chop off a head right now. Paul should have been trying to actively stop it instead of just being argumentative the entire time.
Showing, not telling. It feels like Hammer Studios, whatever that means, the makers of this film, really wanted to remake the story as different from the original as possible. Rather than looking at the original and looking at what works and trying to do... The great thing about James Whale's Frankenstein are the high notes. It's alive. It's alive. Yeah. Angry villagers with pitchforks.
Yeah.
You know, that's the stuff that is really memorable, and this movie didn't have any... Not that they had to do those exact things, but they needed those really punchy climaxes. Like the build-up and the climax to creating the creature in the original movie is so... I mean, it's one of the great scenes of cinema.
Yeah, while in this one, the creature happens off-screen.
And another thing this movie really needs is Igor. Paul is no Igor.
There are aspects of this movie that I do really like, and almost all of them begin with the word Peter and end with the word Cushing.
I thought the ending was great.
Yeah.
Just, I told this crazy story that is unbelievable, and there's absolutely no evidence, and my former friend screws me over.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really great ending.
Who murders Justine? Do we see the creature do it?
Did he use Justine's brain?
That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
It's Justine's brain. Where to get the other brain? I have my theories. Who does the monster initially attack when it has the professor's brain? Frankenstein.
Yes.
Because you're the guy who killed me. Who does the monster attack when he has possibly Justine's brain?
Elizabeth,
the rival.
Talking about Peter Cushing, his physicality is really fascinating. The way that he runs, he has a wild kind of loose-limbed movement that is sort of counter to his very genteel Britishness.
So I think that the title of this movie, The Curse of Frankenstein, shows that it's not about the creature. It's about the man. And really, we spend all of our time with Victor, and his curse is his obsession. It's just driving him on and driving him on. And also, I guess, the curse of money and just having that power. Nothing ever bad's going to happen to me.
Right.
I think that another good title for this movie would be Frankenstein, Monster. Because once he starts monstering it up, once he's chopping down a corpse and chopping off its head, dangling promises he's not going to keep to his housemaid, killing a house guest, which is generally considered one of the worst sins that you can perform as far as politeness goes.
Going all the way back to Macbeth.
Yeah. He's the monster of the movie. His creation is literally a killing machine. It's just a machine that he built that goes off and kills people. It's like he built a cannon that drives around on itself and lights its own fuse.
His creation is not evil, it is a manifestation of his evil. I thought the production values and certain set pieces were really good in this. The professor falling off the railing, that was a pretty amazing fall. Just the eyeballs in the little vial, just like creepy touches like that were really nice.
That's what probably worked the most back in 1957. They were showing things that you're not supposed to see.
Yeah, severed hands in a hanky.
Or just like wiping the blood off his hands on his own jacket.
That's one thing that Hammer does really well, is that they have those little flashes of luridness. The curse of Frankenstein has been lifted. Hooray! Let's celebrate with some Seen It.
Seen It!
Our theme tonight is horror. The theme for every Seen It this month is horror.
Yes.
Tyler Wilson. Dear Matt, Craig, Tona, and Katz, have you seen the 1932 movie Island of Lost Souls? I don't know anything about this movie, but it looks good. Seen it.
Yeah, seen it. And it is good. You should check it out. There are a lot of great actors in this movie.
Including the Panther Woman.
Bela Lugosi in a small part. I think this might be my favorite Lugosi performance. Or the movie that they use Lugosi's strange gifts the best. And that they've inspired Devo. Drew Walker writes, Psycho!
Seen it.
Seen it.
Psycho is kind of horror melodrama.
Well, it's a thriller.
Well, I remember that scene where Martin Balsam is walking up the stairs and the mother runs out with a knife and stabs him, and there's a huge aerial shot and he goes, "Oh!" and he falls down. I remember that image more vividly than the shower scene.
Two things I love about Psycho. The protagonist shifts throughout the movie. 4 protagonists in the movie, and we root for Marion, we root for Norman, we root for the detective, we root for Marion's sister as we're going through the movie.
Yeah.
The villains are also shifting. The other thing I love is that Hitchcock, top of his game, had all the blank checks in Hollywood, and he said, I'm going to make a low budget, crappy horror
It's
movie.
a really small movie. It's like Carnival of Souls.
It's a William Castle movie, really.
Sure. This is really a lesson for any director. If you're a director who's known for making big, splashy, elaborate movies, make a really simple one.
I want Spielberg's Psycho.
Yeah.
I don't want him to remake Psycho like Van Zandt did. I want him to be like, okay, I'm going to give myself $10 million. He can pay for it out of his own pocket.
Sure.
And I'm just going to do it with unknowns or, you know, whatever, however he can pull it off.
Ari Gray, I'd like to recommend One Cut of the Dead. I'd like to tell you I've seen it.
I have seen it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I got it, yeah.
Go out and watch it right now. Don't read the description on the DVD or the Netflix envelope. Don't look up anything about it. Just get the movie and watch it.
Yeah.
I will tell you the only things that I knew going into it. It's Japanese. Don't watch it with the dubbing. Watch it with the subtitles because the dubbing is pretty awful. It's a zombie comedy. That's all you need to know.
I had a couple hours to kill. I called Matt and I'm like, what should I watch? And he said, One Cut of the Dead. I want to talk about it on the show, as we're not talking about it right now. And it's intense.
Another thing is stick it out. I've heard of multiple people who have turned it off after 20 minutes. 45 minutes in, I thought, I don't know. You have to watch the whole thing. It all comes together.
Deadpan80 writes, Just recently saw the Killer Dummy movie, Magic, for the first time, and it was better than I thought. Supposedly, Gene Wilder was one of the original choices for the lead, played ultimately by Anthony Hopkins, which I think may have been a better choice. Wilder was a master at playing insane characters tenuously, hiding behind a facade of normalcy.
Seen it.
Seen it.
I agree that Gene Wilder could have done that role, but I don't agree he was a better choice. I thought Anthony Hopkins did such a great job.
This is the curse of the comic actor. It's like there's scenes which are long scenes where it's just the ventriloquist character talking to himself. That would be kind of funny to watch Gene Wilder do it. It would be an insurmountable obstacle.
Anytime Gene Wilder raises his voice about anything, it's funny.
Burgess Meredith just kills it in that movie. There's the scene right at the center of the movie where he confronts Anthony Hopkins with the 5-minute challenge.
That's a great scene.
Like watching a chess game between Boris Kasparov and a nuclear bomb.
Being cursed is no fun. No one wants it. So why don't you go to our completely curse-free website, welcome-to-the-basement-show.com. There are all of our episodes there. Over 230?
It's around that, yeah.
And there's also PayPal donation buttons that you can click on to donate to help support this show with a one-time or rolling monthly donation.
The bad news is the PayPal donation button is cursed.
But you get a free Frogut.
Ooh.
The Frogut is also cursed.
Oh, no.
Kevin is a new monthly donor, and he says, you guys have meant a lot to me, not just navigating through the pandemic, but giving me something fun and thoughtful to do in the harrowing months since my son died from a drug overdose in 2020. That's awful. Sorry to hear that.
Yes.
Hardcore downer, I know, but it's my reality, but you guys are also part of my reality, and you've been way more than a welcome part of it. Well, thank you, Kevin. We hope you and your family the best, continuing to deal with this tragedy, and thank you for your donation.
I'm very happy that we can help in even the smallest of way.
Yeah. Our P.O. box is below, and you can send us letters or postcards or whatever. We'll open them and read them on the unboxing show, which comes up this coming Friday. Also, you'll get more Craig and Matt chat, and sometimes there are outtakes from this episode. A lot of people look at these outtakes and say, why did you cut that? It was so funny. You need to go to unboxing to find those hidden gems. We had a fun time watching The Curse of Frankenstein. Come back and join us for the rest of scary Halloween here in the basement, and now take a look at this. They go to the gibbet. At this time in history in England, there was a rash of gibbet robberies.
Who was in Switzerland, if you want to switch that up.
I don't.
Okay.